Hey everybody, hope you can see me. Welcome to WDW Radio Live. I am Lou Mangello from WDW Radio. And as I said, if you caught my tweets or Facebook posts, tonight is going to be something a little bit different than what I normally do on the live show and what I normally do on the podcast. And let me explain a little bit about what's going to go on tonight and why I'm going to change the format up just a little bit. In the past on the show, really since day one, I've always covered news and rumors. And it's always been tough for me for a couple of different reasons. One of which is because I've always wanted the show to be evergreen. I always wanted the content to be something that people can go back to no matter when they find the show and listen to older episodes without hearing news that's obviously very far outdated or rumors of things that may or may not come possibly years after they've already happened. News was also tough covering on the show because of time and because of my schedule. Sometimes being able to report on the news when I had to record was difficult in order to get it into the show, or because of the length of segments to be able to fit in without making the show 2+ hours long. There was also something else that I wanted to do, and I wasn't really sure how to do it. And I came up with an idea a few months ago, and I, again, because of my schedule, haven't been able to test it or implement it for a while just because I've been busy and I've been traveling and so much else going on. But I realized after some time of not having the news on the show that a lot of people really enjoyed and looked forward to those segments. They emailed me, they posted comments, whatever it might be. And that's why tonight is really going to be a test. And again, this is going to be a test for a few reasons. Part of the reason, again, because what I'm doing tonight, and you'll understand why, is going to be very dependent, once again, on my time and my schedule. But the idea that I had for the news was that I wanted it to be more than just a one-way feed of me telling you about what was going on. I wanted the news to somehow be interactive, because I said from day one how I wanted the show to be interactive. So I wanted to find a way to make you be part of the news, and in fact, a discussion of it as a whole. So what I'm doing is this. This is sort of a test of something I'm calling the WDW NewsCast, where I'm going to bring you the news, maybe even some rumors, each week through a live video broadcast, which I'm also going to record and make available on YouTube. So you can watch it sort of time shifted in case you can't make it here. If I decide to do this, say, every Wednesday night at 7:30, you don't have to worry about being here to be part of it. You can still sort of catch the video at a later time. And the difference is, in addition to me just sort of broadcasting it to you, I want it to be interactive with the chat. I want it to be where you can voice your opinions or your thoughts, ask or answer questions that I might pose to you as well. Another difference between this and my show, which obviously is a very long format show, is I want to try and restrict these shows to maybe 15 minutes or so. And I smile as I say that because we know that my shows have a tendency to run long. So again, this is very much an experiment. It's going to be very much a challenge, again, because of my schedule. The other thing I'm going to do too is if there's ever a time that news is breaking and maybe can't wait until that following Wednesday, I'm going to tweet out or post on Facebook and maybe do these spontaneously. So if something big does happen, it needs to be covered and discussed right away, I might tweet out in the middle of the afternoon and hold one of these in a very impromptu kind of way. Again, best way really to follow is, again, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are going to always be the best ways to catch up on the show, find out exactly when these are going to happen. So, again, this is an experiment. I definitely want your comments and your feedback. And if you like the show, let others know. And if you don't, please don't tell anybody. But let's go ahead. Let's give it a try again for this first week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some things. I might throw out some questions. I'm going to try and follow the chat room as closely as possible. So if you're ready, let's try and kick off the experimental first episode of the WDW Newscast. And we're going to kick off in Fantasyland, where lots of work is going on, both in front of and behind the big construction walls. And recently, Belle's Fairy Tale Garden, which closed some time ago, reopened for the Tangled meet and greet. And this is where Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, love the name, have a play and greet with visitors in the park. And now the Fairy Tale Garden is reopened as a completely new area. Hasn't been rethemed very much, but instead of just a normal meet and greet, what happens now is this. About 35 or so children get into the area, and the one big difference you see is the benches are for the most part gone. And then in the center, there's a large circular table. And when kids go in, they're given a coloring book to color. Photo pass photographers are there all around taking pictures of the kids as they're coloring. And then what happens, you're waiting for Rapunzel and Flynn to come up on stage. When they do, they start sort of the celebration. They want them to join in a little dance number. I'm not going to do my Flynn Rider dance for you. And then after that celebration's over, everybody lines up for the Rapunzel and Flynn sort of traditional meet and greet. And here, while they're online, again, sort of we talking about this interactive queue thing, cast members play games and engage the guests, both adults and kids, while they're online. And again, all the PhotoPass photographers are there taking pictures. I don't know if anybody in the chat room has had a chance to experience the Rapunzel or Tangled Flynn Rider meet and greet, but while I was disappointed to hear Belle's Fairy Tale Garden going away, I kind of like the idea of this being more of an interactive thing as opposed to just a show and then a meet and greet later on. It seems like all of the 35 or so kids have a chance to get involved and get engaged with this. Staying in Fantasyland, again, work going on not just behind the walls for the expansion, but in front of the walls. The Mad Tea Party closed sort of without any pomp and circumstance or any fanfare, but it's interesting to see that the roof cover has been removed, and there's a lot more work than just sort of sprucing up the paint. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going on there. But if you can look behind the walls, and a lot of people have been getting on Dumbo to get sort of that aerial view, pardon the pun, you can see that the Under the Sea building is huge. It's a ginormous kind of building. But what Disney did the past week was maybe in an effort to block some of those views and the photos and videos that have been posting online about the Fantasyland construction is they put a large, very tall tree line just behind the green construction walls. So we might sort of have some of those views and some of those photos from Dumbo gone for a while as Disney tries to keep exactly what they're doing there a secret. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors as to what is going on there and what may be changing. We've been hearing rumors about the fact that Phase 2 of the Fantasyland expansion may be tossed in favor of some new additions. There's been a rumor of a roller coaster themed to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride, and along with that, the possibility of Snow White's Scary Adventures going away in lieu of a more thrilling Snow White attraction. There's also a rumor that Goofy's Barnstormer not only is going to stay, but keep its name and somewhat of a theme to Goofy, and maybe Goofy will be part of this Fantasyland expansion, and it's not just going to be all about princes and princesses, I should say. Speaking of characters, there was a new character introduced this past week with a lot of fanfare, and Duffy the Bear had his opening and welcoming ceremony in Epcot this past week. And as far as I can remember, this is sort of the first time that Disney has introduced a non-film character into the parks since maybe the Orange Bird back in the 70s when the Florida citrus growers sponsored the Sunshine Tree Terrace, and then when Figment came in 1982. The interesting thing was that Duffy the Bear really sort of is a reincarnation of the Disney Bear, which was introduced in books back in 2002. Something else that was interesting is during the opening ceremony, he arrived there with Mickey Mouse. And I kind of got the sense it was almost as though the Big Cheese was endorsing the new guy, kind of like he did with Roger Rabbit when the studios opened back in 1989, really sort of Mickey welcoming in this other character. Remember, Roger Rabbit was supposed to be really alongside Mickey as a very big, very popular character. That didn't happen as expected. Now, I'm curious as to what people think about Duffy the Bear. I've seen a lot of passionate comments both ways online. Some people saying they don't like the introduction of Duffy, or all of a sudden they're sort of thrust into Duffy, while people say they love it, and already they're not only buying Duffy and carrying Duffy around the parks like they do in Japan, where he's very, very huge, but they're already going out and buying their costumes, because like the old pal Mickey, you can buy a lot of different costumes for Duffy. I believe he comes dressed as a sailor when you first purchase him. And again, lots of different ways to dress up Duffy. And again, looking at the chat room, it seems like, again, there's opposite ends of the spectrum as to people loving Duffy or not loving Duffy. And somebody's making a note that in the KidCot Fun Stops over in Epcot, where you used to be able to make a mask, excuse me, for all the different countries, now it's Duffy. So Disney is really kind of going all in on the Duffy promotion. As soon as you walk from Future World into World Showcase, there's a Duffy merchandise cart there. So again, it's going to be interesting to see the adoption and sort of the love for Duffy that comes in the next little while. I alluded to some rumors before, and while this is really a news segment, because some recent construction permits have been filed, it's interesting to note that changes may be coming, as has been rumored for a long time, over to Pleasure Island, because I was sent 2 construction permits, one installing construction trailers on the site, and the second for, quote, overall site constructions. The plans also mention specifically the motion and BET soundstage buildings, and the fact that possibly they're going to be demolished. And this is something I'd like to see people respond to, either in the chat or over on commenting on YouTube. If you check out the video after we post it there, what would you guys like to see happen over to Pleasure Island? Right now, it's sort of a ghost town for the most part. It's really a thoroughfare in between the west side and the marketplace. At one time, it was the place to go at night, and it's curious to see what, if anything, may be happening there. And again, a lot of people in the chat room talking about the fact that they love and that they certainly miss the Adventurers Club. There was a Congaloosh event a couple of weeks ago which celebrated the legacy of the Adventurers Club 2 years after it closed, so you can see that passion for that type of interactive theater really resonates still with a lot of Disney fans. Talking more about interactivity in the parks, I mentioned on the show a while back that over at the Haunted Mansion, the queue where the gravestones are at the left-hand side right before you enter the show building has been completely covered up. A lot of people have sent me photos taken from the Liberty Square riverboat where that not only have the tombstones been removed, but the entire area is being covered. And the rumor is that it's going to be a very interactive queue, and that the rumor also goes to Winnie the Pooh, where that queue is still covered, although the attraction is opened. And I'm curious again to see in the chat room, what do you people think of the idea of the interactive queue? It was introduced to us really in Soarin' over in Epcot, and what do you think about it coming to other attractions like the Haunted Mansion? Does the Haunted Mansion need an interactive queue? The gravestones were such a classic, integral part of the experience. Wondering what the response is going to be there. Saying hello to some new experiences, saying goodbye to others. Effective November 23rd, the Mickey's Magical Milestones Tour over in the Magic Kingdom is no longer going to be offered. That was a 2-hour trek that really took you through the history of Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney, how their dreams came true. It sort of followed Mickey from Steamboat Willie all the way up to Mickey's PhilharMagic. Again, it was a guided tour talking not just about Mickey and his presence in the parks, but Walt Disney. I'm wondering if anybody in the chat room has had a chance to try that. Is that something that maybe they didn't know about that they'd like to try? Again, you have about just a month before that one goes away. I've never had a chance to experience it. I'd love to hear from somebody who did get a chance to do the Mickey Milestone Tour. It was available for ages 10 and up, which is one of the things that appealed to me about it, because a lot of the backstage tours are really for 16 and up. So curious if this is something that that people would have liked to do. While one experience goes away, another one comes in over in Disney's Animal Kingdom. I'm really excited to check out in early 2011 the Wild Africa Trek, which is a unique wildlife experience over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's going to be a 3-hour expert-led adventure immersing you into the realms and wildlife of Africa. According to Disney, it's a, quote, up close and personal experience with African wildlife species. You're going to trek through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. You're going to go through some forest on an adventure. You're also going to get clipped onto a harness that's attached to a safety line and cross a seemingly precarious rope bridge over the Safety River. If you've taken the Kilimanjaro Safari, you have an idea where that's going to take place, and you get to sort of look over the edge of the cliff to see the hippos and the crocodiles. I see some people in the chat room have already booked that. I think this is one going to be very, very popular because there's not a lot of experiences like that in Disney's Animal Kingdom, and really get you a chance to be in Harambe and sort of part of the attraction. It's going to be offered multiple times a day. You can book it or get more information by calling 407 WDW Tour. The pricing is going to vary depending on season, but from January 16th to February 26th, the introductory offering price is going to be $129, and park admission is required. Again, there's some people saying in the chat room that they've already gone ahead to go and book that. And two other special events that I want to make mention of real quick. One that I'm super, super excited about, and I don't usually go and attend the trading events, is another special event coming to honor the 40th birthday of Walt Disney World between September 9th and the 11th, 2011, at Epcot's World Showplace. Is going to be the Florida Project. And this is one that's not going to be about just trading Vinylmation and other collectibles. It's really going to be a throwback to sort of the opening of Walt Disney World. And they actually have a whole backstory associated with this, where it's sort of they found this unused alternate preview center. You remember the preview center from about 69 or 70 or so was on Hotel Plaza Boulevard, where the amateur athletic unit is now. Well, they found this other one, and this event is supposedly taking place in that preview center. All the logos, all the merchandise has a very, very retro look. If you had the old gift bags with the orange and pink and purples, it looks just like that. They're going to reveal some additional information in the coming months, but you can check out the Disney Parks blog for more. This is one I'm super, super excited about. Again, people in the chat room, Florida Project sounds awesome. Didn't know about that one. Sounds cool. It does sound great. Yeah, so whether you're a collector or a theme park fan or a nostalgic or a history fan, I think there's going to be something here that's going to appeal to everybody. And this is one where I really applaud Disney for definitely sort of paying attention, I think, to what people were looking for as far as special events in Walt Disney World. And finally, just a quick mention about special events that are coming. It's October, so of course it's time to start talking about not Halloween, but Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. The 2010 party dates and times obviously been out for a while, but it starts November 8th, so kind of the day after Halloween. The Halloween decorations go down from November 8th all the way up to the end of December, and I'll post a link on the site where you can find out exact dates. There's so much that goes on. It really is one of, if not the best ticketed event in Walt Disney World. Runs from 7 to midnight. There's a special Once Upon a Christmas Time parade twice a night, holiday wishes, and again, it's a hard ticketed event, so prices for the party run from about $57 for adults and $51 for kids, and of course there's pass holder and DVC member discounts. So my question to you is, A, are you going to the party, or have you been to the party? And if so, what is your favorite part of the Very Merry Christmas Party? And maybe, do you go to Walt Disney World specifically for the holidays? Do you go because of the Christmas party in the Magic Kingdom, or the Osborne Lights, or the Jammin' Jungle Parade? I mean, all the theme parks have something special done for it. Disney really becomes a completely different place during the holiday season. One of my favorites, certainly, the Christmas party. I never sort of felt disappointed as to spending the money on the ticketed event. I think a lot of people say that they love the parade. They go whenever they can. Some people go more than once. Christmas with Disney just seems right. I agree with you 100%. Some people already have their tickets booked for early November. People asking also if Epcot's going to have the Lights of Winter back this year. I've heard nothing about that. Last year was the first time they took them down for a variety of reasons. A lot of people were disappointed. Love to see them coming back. If not, I'd love to see something else coming. So again, I'd love to hear your comments, not just here in the chat room, where we'll stay for a little while longer, but if you go over to the YouTube channel where these videos are going to be posted, post some of your comments there. If you enjoy the party, what your favorite part of it is, and if you go to Walt Disney World specifically for the holidays. And I want you to also comment on anything else you might have heard in this segment, any of the other news, some of the other rumors. What do you think? Again, because I want this to be interactive, and I'm trying to sort of watch the chat room, report on the news, and sort of appeal to the people who maybe are going to see this later on. Again, this is sort of the first time out of the box doing this, and as expected, I ran longer than the 15 minutes I did expect. I'd love to get more of your feedback on this. You can email me at lou@wdwradio.com. I'll also probably post this video maybe over on the blog over at WDW Radio. You can comment there, and again over on YouTube. Let me go ahead and give you guys one more time. Again, here's all the links to where you can get and subscribe. And because I'm going to be doing these intermittently, sometimes spontaneously, again, follow me over on Twitter. Join the WDW Radio fan page over on Facebook. While you're on the site, don't forget to also check out the discussion forums, the photo galleries, the other videos, the blog. Download the free WDW Radio iPhone app. And also you can find a link over to Celebrations Magazine. And again, in the interest of keeping this interactive, I'd also love to hear from you, where you can call the voicemail at 888-703-2171. That's it. That's going to do it for this edition of WDW Radio Live. I'm going to stay and talk to some more people in the chat for a little while longer. But again, I really want and welcome any of your feedback and or criticism as to this idea and or format, things you might want to see differently. I'm going to try and do these every Wednesday, probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It might be from here in the home studio. It could be from Walt Disney World. And again, it could be as news breaks from Walt Disney World. So again, I want to thank you guys for showing up tonight. I really appreciate all the support. I'm going to hang out with you guys in the chat room for a little while longer. And as always, keep moving forward, guys. See ya.